Hello everyone, this is Haxaclappa, and today we'll be looking at the Jaguar GR.1A. It's the newest plane added, and yeah, it's at the end of a swift tree on the British line of aircraft. This plane, I think it's pretty good. It's basically a F1 with two missiles and flares and slightly worse performance. And if you look at my upgrades, I have nothing upgraded except the missiles. Those things cost me an arm and a leg. It was pretty bad. I had to club some low tier to get it, and yeah, it's basically a F1, but better, but really not really. It's sort of a trade-off that you take. So, what does this plane get, and why is it even worth covering? Well, this plane gets the new missile, the AIM-9L. Let's take a look at that missile. See these? That's AIM-9L. 40G, all aspect, but the thrust is absolutely atrocious. It's like worse than the AIM-9G somehow, and look at the flight performance. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. So what can this plane really do? Well, I think I got a perfect demonstration. Oh, by the way, it also has Aidens. So yeah, let's get into our little demonstration of this plane's capabilities. So, I hope you guys did heed my warning the last video that I made. Last time I said not to grind the F1 because it wouldn't age very well. And to be fair, I wasn't wrong, but I was correct by the wrong reasons. So last time I said that people will learn how to counter your missiles. Now that's also true. It's getting harder to play the F1 every day, but now the devs just add this thing. And if you're wondering, no, the F1 doesn't stand any chance against this thing. Because the thing is that the F1, it doesn't have flares, right? So this thing just completely counters the F1 because this thing has flares and all aspect missile. And if you're wondering, no, you cannot dodge the 9L because you need to be under a specific set of circumstances to dodge 9Ls. And you have to have a specific time. But because the Jaguar has flares, the Jaguar pilot can choose when to launch. And they can launch in a place where you literally do not have a single chance when it comes to dodging the missile. And so basically, if you're in a F1 and you fight against this thing, you're just a free kill. It's really just like that. Unless they don't have missiles, and in that case, you can use your better flight performance, and you can probably out dogfight the Jaguar pretty easily. But yeah, that was also a really terrible AIM-9L launch. But as you see in launches like this, you get like 1 to 2 kilometers. They're not dodging it. And also, if you saw in the clips earlier, the AIM-9L sometimes have a mind of their own. It's pretty weird sometimes. Um, Sometimes like they just go for flares, and then they might end up smashing some other plane. But also, you're gonna have times where they start flaring and the Seeker just does not see anything, and it just keeps on tracking their plane. So it's a little goofy ass missile, and it pulls 40 Gs even though 40 Gs is completely overkill. But otherwise, this thing is literally just an F1 destroyer. It's really that. And some other quirks about this plane, well, it has really hot engines. You have to be wary of that. And as you see, when I enter the furball, well, I play this thing like the 104G. So I kind of drop my throttle whenever I get into a furball, and I just periodically flare. And yeah, that was a pretty nice triple kill with two missile kills and one gun kill. And really, the first F5 wasn't paying attention, and well, it happens to all of us, right? But this is giving me the early MiG-21 vibes. Remember that first video I made? It's just killing people in the head-on, and they really don't stand a chance because you have flares, and this is like the closest thing we've got to that, because this thing actually has flares. And I'm pretty sure this thing also pulls the most AoE in the game, but it doesn't turn not that great. I think it's outdone by the F5 or something. And yeah, I just choked my shot right there. It's pretty bad, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die because I was in a pretty bad position. So let's talk a little more about this thing's flight performance, and really it flies like a gimped F1. This thing has worse roll rate, it doesn't turn as well, and it has worse thrust to weight. Now this thing's optimal speed is around 750, which is dogfighting speed, so you should be alright dogfighting there. It's not as bad as like the MiG-21's optimal of like 400. And this thing doesn't bleed speed that terribly, so that's also that. So the TDLR is that it has good flight performance, but it's not amazing. I'm pretty sure it's not as good as the F5's, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's not amazing, but it's still pretty good. You can easily outturn things like the what's it called? The F4s, because those things are just flying bricks. You're gonna outdo the Lightning. But the Lightning really doesn't matter because you're going to kill it in the head on it anyway. And most of the time in this plane, you could see me just getting really greedy for those. Oh, I should have died here for sure. But I get really greedy for those F1s. And that was a pretty far lock, but I don't think he's actually gonna pay attention and notice that. And yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the AIM-9L. The AIM-9L, its motor is not that great, but if you launch it in ideal scenarios, and by the way, you can get away, you can always launch in ideal scenarios because you have flares, they're always gonna find their mark. This thing just smites those poor F1s out of the air. And this guy's telling me that he wants to try to dodge my 9L, but again, I can choose when to launch my 9L, and I will choose to launch it in a situation where you have no chance of dodging it. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna try right now, and as you see, I'm not waiting to launch on the very first opportunity, and well, he dodges incorrectly anyway. And yeah, I look at these three guys, and I just pick the F1 to launch my missile at, because those other two guys have flares, and I'm just turning with my keyboard right now. And as you see, my afterburner is off, but I think I die here because I didn't flare. Yeah. That's what happens sometimes. You have to, if it's really hard to look both ways at the same time, and I'm sure you guys can all relate to that. But this thing, yeah, as you see my KD, I'm not trying to like stay alive, but my KD is easily above 2 just because I get those 2 free kills every single respawn that I get. And it really just makes the F1s unplayable. Now, something I feel pretty strongly about is power creep, and I'm pretty sure this thing is power creeping like things like the F5 and the F1. Now the F1 is probably better, like, in most pub stomping scenarios, but if there's something like this thing just completely destroys the F1. And also the F5. I think it turns really similarly to this. But it has just worse missiles. So this thing basically has power creep the F5 too. And here I think the F5 doesn't actually kill me, as I tried to reverse him here and then I just get killed by some other person there. And as you see, I had no idea who it was. And also the guns on this thing, I think they're alright, but yeah, it's pretty much it. This thing's just a F1 bullier. You just bully F1s all day. You get your free kills. It's more or less that. With that in mind, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This plane is pretty boring. You literally just press 4 on F1s, and they really can't do anything about it. Oh, and you saw that, right? It lost track on the F1, and it killed the F4 behind him. Well, that's pretty neat. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.